Hello all. A couple weeks back, we pointed out that the military-industrial complex isn't just rich white men in boardrooms messing up the world for profit. It's also made up of millions of good, hardworking people who don't see how their actions make the world more dangerous. But I don't think that goes far enough. In fact, we are all the military-industrial complex. It's not just the 320 million or so US citizens. It's all of us. All 7 billion of us floating around on this planet. Don't buy it? Let's start off by talking about California. That famously left-wing state occupies most of the west coast of the United States, and it is tremendously powerful. If it were ranked individually, it would come in as somewhere between the 5th and the 8th largest economy in the world, depending on how you do the math. But it's much more than that. In Southern California, Hollywood builds the world's myths. In Northern California, in Silicon Valley, the future is quite literally being put together day by day. California has been the testing ground of much of what we've come to recognize as the American dream. From highways to universities to environmental consciousness and LGBT rights, California has been a trendsetter for most of a century. What do you think built all this? Did a bunch of movie stars and tech geeks build the world's 8th largest economy from scratch? Of course not. It was the military-industrial complex, pure and simple. California was initially populated due to resource booms in gold and oil. But the true push towards California dreaming came with World War II. The military machine that crushed Hitler and the Japanese was shipped through and largely built in California. As the Cold War heated up, military contracts for aerospace and other manufacturing built the California miracle. But it wasn't just California. The arms industry has been a tremendous part of economic development worldwide since the Industrial Revolution. Military production for World War II brought us out of the Great Depression. Cold War weapons stockpiling employed millions across the world. The wars in Korea, Vietnam, and Iraq provided extraordinary stimulus to the American economy and therefore the world economy beyond it. The need for that stimulus probably has more to do with why those wars happened than we'd like to admit. The rewards haven't just been economic. We've all got the military-industrial complex in our pockets. The internet was cooked up by the US Defense Department, specifically DARPA. The internet's first connections were between university computer science departments, and most of those departments were huge beneficiaries of Defense Department money. GPS, the global positioning system, the thing that makes the maps on our phones work, was built to track nuclear missiles long before it got us across town. We're all complicit. If we live on this planet in 2016, we've benefited from the economic growth and the technology that the military-industrial complex has built. If we look honestly at this, then the history of the past 70 years gets kind of disturbing, but it makes a lot more sense. The military-industrial complex has brought the world incredible prosperity, but the costs have been horrific. Throughout the past 70 years, individual countries or entire regions have been sacrificed to this economic engine. Vietnam, Iraq, and many other countries have suffered so that the rest of us can prosper. The incredible economic progress the world experienced during the Cold War had a lot to do with the fact that we were dedicating trillions of dollars to systems that could end human civilization. The fundamental ridiculousness of US military budgets, the idea that we need as much money to fight Islamic fundamentalists as we needed to fight the USSR, makes more sense when you look at it this way. The military-industrial complex isn't about real threats, it's a tremendous jobs program that the whole world benefits from. This 7-decade project of war socialism has worked out quite well for the majority of humanity. But it has to stop, or at least change. Since the end of the Cold War, the military-industrial complex has created more problems than it has solved. We need it, but it is trying to kill us. In order to even think about changing things, we have to look at the problem honestly. In the immortal words of the cartoonist Walt Kelly, we have met the enemy and he is us. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you'd like to help me make more videos like this one, please click on the Patreon link here to find out how.